Hey everybody, welcome to Mountain in the Mist. Today we are actually doing a little bit of sheep surgery and we thought we'd bring you all along for the adventure. Now don't worry, it's not anything crazy. Mars here just has a problem with one of his horns and we're gonna go ahead and fix that before it turns into something more serious down the road. Since we're doing a little bit of horn surgery today, we thought we'd make a video all about sheep horns. So let's get into it. One of the most common misconceptions I think people have about sheep horns is they think that all male sheep have horns and that all sheep with horns are males. And that's really not how sheep horns work. Here we have Mars, who is a male who has horns. And here we have our main breeding ram, Marbles, who, as you can see, has no horns at all on top of his head. He never did. He was born without them and he'll never grow any for his whole life. So what is it that makes Mars have horns and Marbles not have any horns?
So it's breed specific. Mars here is an Icelandic breed, and they have these big, beautiful round horns that go across their head like this. Marbles is an East Frisian, and they naturally are polled and don't have horns. Just comes down to genetics.
So it's really all in the genetics of Mars here that he's got horns coming out of his head, and he kind of drew the short straw in the horn genetics world, right? He's got a problem with his horns.
Yeah, which is part of the reason why we avoid horned sheep. Not only do they cause problems sometimes, but they are more cumbersome to have around the farm. They get caught on things, they can actually break off, like this side of his head broke off and caused a very bloody mess that we came down to. They can hurt a lot more if your ram decides to ram you. You never want to trust a ram. And they can grow into the side of their head, which is what is happening on this side of Mars's head. We much prefer the polled sheep over the horns, although they are beautiful to look at, but they're not worth it for our farm.
We so much so preferred polled or hornless sheep that Mars is actually our only sheep with horns on the farm. He's the only one that gets this special surgical treatment. Unfortunately, Mars will never have those big, beautiful horns that you see on Icelandic sheep sometimes because he did not win the genetic lottery, and we're gonna keep cutting him short so they don't poke his own eye out. Should we take him down to the sheep stand and get ready to chop his horn off?
Let's do it.
Now that he's in here, we can take a real close look at this horn and see just how close it's getting to his eye there and what would happen if we didn't cut it. We can also take a look at this broken side that he snapped off in some fencing a while back. Okay, so our tool of choice for this is going to be a wire saw. It's really commonly used to cut PVC, but it works great on sheep horns. It eliminates any sort of potential accidents that can happen with a saw blade. If you don't have or want to get a wire saw, you could probably use a hacksaw or something like that, but this works really well for us.
What about pruners?
I probably wouldn't want to use anything that might crush the horn. The horn does have blood vessels and stuff. As my mother always said, the horn is just the fingernail of the head. So we want to just take the end of it off with a sharp cut and try not to damage anything that's important higher up.
Okay.
We're going to put that wire saw through the horn here. And we're going to take about an inch or so of this horn off. So getting it started is the hardest part. Emily's going to do her best to hold his. Well, that was a fun little detour. Now we're going to get to sawing this horn. So the hardest part is kind of getting this initial groove going. And once you've got the groove, the wire saw does a pretty good job of slicing through it. It'll start to heat up. You'll probably see the horn start to smoke. So you don't want to touch the wire for sure. Oh, fuck.
Touch the wire?
Yeah. So now we've really worn a groove in there. And you'll see the horn start to smoke quite a bit.
Yay!
Your wire saw is going to be incredibly hot. Do not touch it.
Good boy.
And we popped right through the end of the horn here. And as you can see, there's a nice bunch of clearance between that horn and his little eyeball now. We cut probably just over an inch off the tip of the horn, and there's no risk of bleeding or anything. If you cut a little higher up, potentially you'd have some bleeding issues. We always have some stop bleed Wonder Dust powder that we can just squirt on that horn if necessary. That's what we had to do on this right side when he broke it off on a fence a while back. Here's this horn piece, Emily. Do you have any crafty ideas to do with that?
I might make a piece of jewelry out of it. It's kind of screaming button to me as well. And if I don't get around to it, the compost is always a great option.
Pretty easy problem to fix. I'm catching my breath back now. Just had a little cardio session. Other than that, not too big of an issue, and he'll be good to go for a few more months. All right, we'll get you guys in for a close-up view of Mr. Mars's new and improved horn tip here. He's clearly a lot happier just sitting in this sheep stand without that horn pressing up against his eye. So really glad about that. Let us know if you've dealt with horned sheep on your homestead, or if you've ever had to cut your own sheep's horns. If you do it a little differently than we do, we'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Make sure you like and subscribe for more of our content, all that good stuff, and we'll see you next time on the farm.